Good morning, and thank you so much for that wonderful opening from members of the BSO. My name is Kate Fox. I am the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism, and it is my pleasure to welcome you this morning to the Old South Meeting House, a place where the spirit of Massachusetts' revolutionary past continues to inspire our present and shape our future. It is so nice to see so many friends and partners today from our Massachusetts 250 Executive Committee and legislative leaders to our grant recipients and regional tourism councils, and of course, Governor and Lieutenant Governor. As we enter the second year of Massachusetts 250, our momentum is growing through major investments in the arts, culture, and community programs that will bring people together from every corner of the state. In that spirit of momentum, I want to share Massachusetts 250's newest 30-second commercial, which captures the energy, creativity, and collaboration driving this historic effort.
There's a revolution happening in Massachusetts, and it's happening every day. This is the place where new paths are being blazed. New minds are being opened. New icons are being made. New battles are being fought. And new pride is being felt. Revolutions happen every day in Massachusetts. Come be a part of what's next.
From Knox 250 and Evacuation Day 2026 to the 250th anniversary of July 4th, these celebrations are helping to shape a shared vision of who we are and where we're headed. This morning, we are honored to begin with a special presentation from a voice that represents the very best of Massachusetts' creative spirit. Appointed in May of this year, Reggie Gibson is the first Poet Laureate of the Commonwealth. As a writer, performer, and educator at Berklee College of Music and Clark University, he has long inspired audiences to see poetry as a bridge between art, history, and community. Please join me in welcoming Reggie Gibson, the inaugural Poet Laureate of Massachusetts.
Good morning to all. There is a song in this land, a song of this land, a melody threaded like marrow through its prehistoric bones, a song born beneath Pleistocene ice sheet, etched into glacial lake, scored into every stone. Can you hear it? Feel it trill from deposited till and kettle pond, upwell from each elm and birch, from oak and pine, from black and blue spruce, sugar maple, sycamore, and sassafras. It rises from white oak and ash, from every lady fern and foam flower thriving in forest shade, from each blade of rye, stilt, mully, and bleached beach grass. Oh, listen, and you will hear it, cantillating from coastline, smelling of Atlantic brine, brimming from its many living waters. The Merua-Squamish, the Missatook, the Chicopee, the Neponset, the Monotiquat, the Quinnipiac, Wiwiantig, the Agawam, and the Assabet. It belts and bellows, resounds, billows, echoes from Skiff Hill to Great Blue, from Greylock to Everett. It sings to you. It sang through the first peoples too. The Wampanoag, the Nipmuc, the Nomkeok, Pinnacook, Mahican, and Nauset, Pocumtuck, Abenaki, and yes, the Massachusetts. A song older than human language, ancient as firefly light and hummingbird heartbeat. It knits every piece of the land into each native man, woman, and two-spirit willing to hear it and be claimed by the beauties it brings. How many have heard it. So many we have neither tongue nor time to sing, and yet it continues to sing in us, and we are each part of that song, our individual and collective longings, our struggles and frustrations, our triumphs and our tragedies, all part of its history, both the readily remembered and the wished to be forgotten. We are the Puritan, thou shalt not, and the round the world heard shot, a paradox of patriotic pilgrim's pride and genocidal guilt, as elevated as Concordian transcendentalism and as elemental as Salem's sand and silt. Ours is both the enslaved back lashed with whip and the haversack hanging against the hip of freedom-fighting Minutemen. We are Massachusetts, sometimes easily and full-throatedly singing of liberty, and sometimes we sing it hoarsely as if dying of thirst, sometimes off pitch, sometimes in pitch perfect voice. We are carols and cacophonies, chants and strained melodies, hummed and thrummed rhythmically to the drummed snare of history. We are all that song, sometimes witty ditty, sometimes gritty chant, sometimes pretty ballad or melismatic rant, sometimes singing the straightforward truth, and sometimes singing it slant. Yet, always, we are that song that plays in the ears, that stays in the ears of this nation like strident fife, sounding above the daily din. Our democratic ideas in each generation must find in itself to realize and make real. We are all the song of Massachusetts. Hear us singing from Norfolk to Suffolk, Dukes to Essex, Barnstable to Bristol, Worcester to Middlesex, Berkshire to Plymouth, Nantucket to Franklin, and from every town and townie, from Hampshire to Hamden. Any path to liberty this nation has taken is because we helped choose it. Any tyranny that triumphs in this nation won't be because we helped excuse it. Any freedom this nation loses won't be because we helped to lose it. For it is not in our nature to suffer in silence such things, but instead to buckle up, muster up, roll up our sleeves and put them up, toss back our heads, fill our freedom-loving lungs with air, and sing, Massachusetts, sing.
Reggie, thank you so much for joining us and for that poem and performance. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce the Governor, Maura Healey.
Well, good morning. And I have the pleasure of following Massachusetts' first-time Poet Laureate, Reggie Gibson. Reggie, thank you so much for that beautiful gift. Welcome, everyone, to the Old South Meeting House. Thank you to Revolutionary Spaces for all the work that's gone into the preservation and stewardship of this historic gem. And this is an important gathering this morning. It's also important while you're here that you just take a moment, to really breathe it in and understand that this is Massachusetts history. This is part of what makes our state not only great, but unique. And unique as we celebrate this great country's 250th anniversary. I want to begin by thanking Kate Fox and the Mott team for the work they've done on Mass 250 and more, our fabulous Lieutenant Governor, Kim Driscoll, who's a champion for our cultural economy, our Secretary of Economic Development, Eric Paley and Undersecretary Ashley Stolba, Mayor Michelle Wu, and the City of Boston. We're here today right in your neighborhood directly, and we thank you for all you do in celebrating Boston and Massachusetts. To our legislative chairs, Sean Garberly and Paul Mark, as well as members of the Committee on Tourism, Arts, and Cultural Development, whose partnership makes all of this possible, Senator Edwards, the wonderful musicians from the Boston Symphony Orchestra, the best orchestra in the country, the best orchestra in the world. Thank you to Chad Smith, to Keith Lockhart, to everyone at the BSO. We're excited. You know, this is the start of the second year for us here celebrating America 250th. We've already done a lot to honor this anniversary. We've relived the Boston Tea Party. We've seen Paul Revere off for his midnight ride. We've reenacted battles of Lexington and Concord with crowds drawn literally from not just around this country, but around the world. We commemorated the Battle of Bunker Hill with a veterans group leading the way. As a state, we've devoted $6 million to support ongoing events and programming, and there's so much more to come. Today, we announce plans for the signature event of Massachusetts 250. It is going to be an incredible, memorable, unforgettable blockbuster of an event on the Esplanade this summer on July 4th, and that is the Boston Pop Celebration of Independence Day. It's going to be fantastic, and I want you to know this thrilling concert and fireworks show we know has been long known around the world and celebrated, and so many people come to it every year. But I can tell you, Massachusetts, that July 4th, 2026 is going to be like something we have never, ever, ever seen before. So we're entering into a partnership. We're providing $2.5 million to the BSO to produce this centerpiece of MA250. We'll have, I'm told, top national talent. We're going to have the best fireworks ever. We're going to have storytelling. We're going to honor our veterans in the military. We'll pay tribute to freedom in all of its forms. And we are going to pack the Esplanade and up and down Stero Drive and every bridge and every vantage point from this great city. It's going to be a showcase of our leadership in arts, in culture, in education, in the revolutionary spirit. But more than anything, it is going to show what American hope, resilience yields, what courage required and made possible, and more than anything, the celebration of the joy, the unrelenting joy, no matter what is happening in the world, the unrelenting joy of what makes this great country possible and what makes it go. And it is going to be animated by this centerpiece showcase celebration, televised all over, that will be the Boston Pop's July 4th spectacular celebration. It's all, can you not clap for that, guys? It is like, honestly. You know, we do. This is an iconic event, not only for Massachusetts. It's been an iconic event nationally every July 4th. But if we deliver nothing else, and we're going to deliver a lot this year, we are going to deliver the country's best fireworks and musical celebration on July 4th, 2026, right here in Boston, right here in Massachusetts. One of the things that has been important to us throughout is to ensure that this is truly a statewide celebration. We've awarded over 96 organizations about $3.5 million in grants. They're already out there creating incredible events in their communities. I want to thank so many of our recipients who are here today, including Historic Deerfield, Mass Humanities, Hingham Historical Society, the Museum of African American History, Concord Museum and Concord Visitors Center, Rose Kennedy Greenway, and the USS Constitution Museum, just among some who've received these awards. And I just want to say that no state in the country, and it's wonderful because all states are going to be celebrating all year long America 250, as we all should. But make no mistake about it, no state in the country has what we have. Because across all 351 cities and towns, there are spaces and there are places where people walked, where people protested, where people fought to make possible everything that we enjoy today. Everybody who lived in Massachusetts, their communities had a role in it. And so, of course, it's appropriate this year that we celebrate and ensure that all communities can celebrate. I also was thinking about this weekend, and did you know that 250 years ago, this weekend, a fellow named Henry Knox went up to New York, and working with his compatriots, they transported from New York all this artillery that they'd seized and brought it to Boston. It is considered one of the most historic feats in all of military history. Imagine this, November 1775 through January 1776, over snow-covered Berkshire Mountains, across the Connecticut River, through the Blackstone Valley, pushing their way through, ultimately, to Cambridge, to Roxbury, to South Boston, covering all these towns in between. And that's how, in March of 1776, George Washington and his men were able to take Dorchester Heights and drive those British out of Boston once and for all. It's why we have Evacuation Day. The rest, of course, is American history. And to me, what it shows is how every community played a role in this Revolutionary War effort. And it's why every community is going to be a part of these commemorations and celebrating all the benefits that they'll bring, economic benefits, which, yes, is important, cultural benefits, which is important, but I think as important as anything, and maybe more so in this time, the benefits of greater connection with one another and understanding and celebration of civic pride. And we're going to do that here in Massachusetts better than anywhere in the country. It's also a chance to honor all the freedoms that people fought for, that were secured for all of us. The freedoms that generations worked for, organized for, and in some instances died for, so that all Americans could share in this nation's great bounty. So as we honor those who came before us, we also should reflect on our own role in defending and advancing freedom in this country. I hope we all take the opportunity to recognize that every one of us, from our littlest kindergartners on up, have an opportunity this year to seize the agency to do just that, to remind people what is so great about this country and how we got here, and to celebrate and defend and advance freedom. And in that effort, I am assured that as we did 250 years ago, Massachusetts, the Bay State, will continue to lead the way. Thanks, everybody. I'd now like to invite up our friend and my great teammate, a woman who, prior to this position, was the mayor of a city that was home to the very first muster of the National Guard, okay? Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Governor Healey, and thanks to everyone for being here. I'm fired up. I hope everybody else is too. Thanks, Mayor, for being here. We have an incredible opportunity, as the governor mentioned, in the nation, in the world. Once again, we'll be turning their eyes to Massachusetts as we think about celebrating our history. And as a former mayor in Salem that put on a lot of big events, we just finished up our big event. I know how much work and effort and coordination it takes to pull off big events. And to drive these Mass 250 efforts forward, we have an executive committee, many of whom are here, who have been business leaders and cultural leaders who have been working hard. The governor just ticked off a number of events that already took place, and we have our biggest year yet coming. And these folks have been working hard at guiding business engagement, statewide collaboration, and community participation leading up to 2026. And our second announcement of today, beyond the big event we're going to be holding next year, is also about the leadership of this committee. The chair of the Mass 250 Executive Committee is none other than Bob Rivers, who is here and joining us. Many of you know Bob as the executive chair and chair of the board of directors at Eastern Bank. He is one of the most dedicated private sector civic leaders that we have ever had in Massachusetts, leans in on lots of things, small and large. And I want to thank you, Bob, for devoting so much of your time and talent to this effort. The bank is definitely not getting its money's worth out of you. I know that because you've been working so hard on this effort. And everyone who has been part of the executive committee, many of whom are here, thank you so much for the time you have been taking to guide this effort. And we're urging everyone to get involved, to lend a hand, to be part of this amazing history as we celebrate the semi-quincentennial. Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? This will not just be an anniversary. There will not be another anniversary this big for another 50 years. So we think about it, now is the time to really get involved. You don't want to miss out on this. A statewide marketing campaign that's been underway since September of 2024 will continue to feature stories that highlight Massachusetts' revolutionary spirit through commercials and tourism initiatives and content celebrating the people, places, and innovations that really have helped define the Commonwealth. In anticipation bills towards 2026, the Mass 250 campaign is amplifying and supporting a growing number of statewide efforts that bring Massachusetts' revolutionary stories to life. The governor mentioned the Knox Trail and Evacuation Day, like so spectacular. We also have Everyone 250, powered by more than 100 partners across arts and culture, diverse in all the ways that make our great state strong. We also have Mass Humanities, Promises of the Revolution. We want to make sure every voice is heard in the march toward equality and the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So much of what we read in our history books doesn't contain all the stories that make Massachusetts special. We have Sail 250, the tall ships are coming, also a celebration. And we've also got this little tournament, you know, the largest global sporting events. The World Cup will be here in 2026 as well. It's pretty clear the world is coming to Massachusetts, and we are ready to rock, literally and figuratively. We're engaging communities, inspiring pride, and creating momentum for an unforgettable 250th anniversary celebration across the state. And today, especially, we celebrate our partnership with the BSO, as the governor announced. We are truly ready to rock, literally and figuratively. And to share more, it's my privilege to introduce Chad Smith, the CEO and president of the historic Boston Symphony Orchestra.
Good morning, everyone. Let me start by thanking Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll for your commitment to the health and prosperity of the Commonwealth. We are indeed lucky to have you and your visionary and bold leadership at the helm of our great state. Thank you. I should know how to do this, but on behalf of the Boston Symphony and the Boston Pops, I want to say how honored and excited we are to be partnering with the Commonwealth on this defining moment. The BSO will be working closely with many state and local officials to make the 4th of July an event that is a success for the Commonwealth in a way that our city and our state deserves. And there are many people I want to thank. Several members of the legislature who serve on the MA250 Commission are with us today. Thank you for your leadership. I want to thank Bob Rivers for your steadfast leadership of the MA250 Committee. Bob, we simply wouldn't be where we are today without your vision and strong guiding hand. Thank you. To my colleagues on the committee, Beth Bolin, Pam Eberhardt, Kate Fox at Mott, we are deeply grateful for this partnership. But I also want to acknowledge a few other of our friends who make this possible. The Department of Conservation and Recreation Commissioner Nicole LaChapelle and DCR's long collaboration with the BSO in allowing the Esplanade to be the site of the July 4th concert. That's just one part of what the DCR does to open up spaces across the state for all Massachusetts residents. And finally, I can't overstate this, an enormous thank you to Massachusetts State Police Leader Colonel Jeffrey Noble and the MSP's commitment to ensuring the safety and security of the 4th of July event. Colonel Noble oversees a coordination of dozens of local, state, and federal agencies assembled to assure the safety of all 500,000 attendees who come to the Esplanade for the July 4th. We literally couldn't do this without you. Now, the BSO began offering concerts on the Esplanade in 1929, when the great Arthur Fiedler led the Pops, and it has been a part of our free offerings to our community every year since then. But then in 1974, David Mugar got involved and helped to elevate the event from the Boston Pops July 4th concert to the Boston Pops Fireworks Spectacular, and spectacular it has become. He famously said to Fiedler, "You bring the music, and I'll bring the fireworks." And he did, along with the funding and the production, until he retired in 2017. With those fireworks in 1974, a new tradition was born, replicated across the country in the following years. Replicated, yes, but equaled, never. It all began here. The event has grown and become a beloved free annual tradition for 500,000 people from all across the state. That was at last count. Who knows what it'll be this year? And I want to thank you, Keith, for all that you do and have done to uplift the voices and stories of artists, and for bringing joy to our community for these many years. Thanks also for bringing a few of our Boston Pops friends, our musicians, today for this a little small taste of the event. And I'm gonna thank you, Terry Everson and Richard Kelly on trumpet, Hazel Davis on horn, Vicky Garcia on trombone, and Taka Hagiwara on tuba. Thank you. In the post-Mugar era, the BSO has self-produced this event, underwriting the costs and recruiting sponsors to make sure that it remains free and open to all. And we're very grateful for the past public and private support we received. But today's announcement opens a new chapter in the event's history. As we look toward the nation's 250th anniversary, the BSO is committed to celebrating and producing a celebration worthy of this historic moment, and we are grateful to the Commonwealth and to the many generous corporations for their investment to make the Boston Pops Fireworks Spectacular MA250's signature event and the biggest in the country. We're excited that our partnership with MA250 will enable us to take this great tradition to the next level, reaching a national audience through our new national media partner, CNN, as well as locally with our regional partner, Channel 7, WHDH. This will allow us to engage the broadest and most diverse audiences across our city, across our state, and indeed, across the country. With the help of the creative vision of Brian Raffanelli, who's here with us today, we are working to elevate the production of the event even further for the many thousands attending in person and the many more watching on CNN. The support of the corporate community is going to enable us to book performers at the highest stature, to headline the show, and this year's Mugar Family Fireworks will be the most spectacular ever. Across the night, you are going to see living legends and emerging stars from across the diverse genres of American music, from R&B and hip-hop to country and pop and Broadway and more. And we'll be announcing those guest artists in the coming months. But the event will also showcase the stories of innovation from across the Commonwealth, with a little help from some of our friends and cameos from some of those Massachusetts natives who have made it out west at Hollywood. As we continue to focus on the future, our local youth talent will also be center stage across the night. Since its founding, the July 4th on the Esplanade has welcomed all for free. And that tradition continues as we work with community groups across Boston, like the Boys and Girls Clubs and so many others, in providing special access and accommodation to the event. And finally, our 2026 celebration will be patriotic, but decidedly nonpartisan. This is a moment for all of us to come together to honor and celebrate the active and veteran members of our military. For me, one of the most treasured and moving parts of the program is when our veterans and service members are invited to stand and be recognized for their sacrifice to protect our freedom. Now, we're confident that we have assembled the team to produce the July 4th celebration that will shine a light on what continues to make Massachusetts the most dynamic and innovative and great place to live in the world. So we will see you on July 4th. Now, we're not doing this alone in the state. We're in partnership with the city as well. And it's my honor and pleasure to introduce Mayor Michelle Wu. Now, she is history making in a number of ways, so you're gonna have to forgive me. Come on up here. And in many ways, she is visionary, but she has also performed twice as soloist with the Boston Symphony, joining us at our free concerts for the city in 2023 and 24. And I make no mistake, she was as fearless and poised playing Mozart's Piano Concerto No. 2 and Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue on the stage of Symphony Hall as she is leading our great city and in that political stage. Keith, conductor during Gershwin, what'd you think? Pretty good, right? Amazing. So I can think of no other mayor who has done more to make arts and culture accessible to all citizens. Her Boston Family Days has led the way nationally in modeling a public-private partnership which enable kids and families to access the transformative power of music and the arts, and the BSO is proud to partner with her administration on this signature program. You inspire so many, and you make many of us proud to be Bostonians. Now, tomorrow's a big day, and we're glad that you can make time to be with us today, but we are so grateful all the ways that the city of Boston is supporting this July 4th event as well. Please welcome Michelle Wu.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to all who have made today possible. Thank you for that incredibly generous introduction. I am living proof for anyone who tinkers at home on the piano or any instrument that the BSO and the Pops can make anyone sound good. We are blessed every year to be home to so many nation-leading institutions and to carry the legacy of the world's best musicians, the world's most dedicated activists, the world's most intrepid scientists and engineers and entrepreneurs. And if there ever was a moment for Massachusetts and Boston to step up and shine, we're ready to show the world. So thank you so much to Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll. Thank you to everyone in the administration. Thank you to the Poet Laureate for that incredible opening, by the way. It was so blessed to be able to witness this. And thank you to Bob and to all the members of the MA250 Executive Committee, to everyone who is getting ready to come out strong, dusting off the red, white, and blue, stocking up for all of the sparkles and the spirit also of what this run-up will mean for Boston, Massachusetts, and the world. We look forward to welcoming the world to Boston next year. It's going to be a huge moment for our city, but in fact, what I appreciate most is that we're giving the rest of the world the chance to see what Boston and Massachusetts have always known. First, that there is no better place in the world to celebrate America's birthday than in the cradle of liberty. Every year, the holiday pops on the Boston pops on the Esplanade, and the fireworks spectacular far blow out any other community who's celebrating, and we look forward to showing that off at another level with all of the support and the excitement building up to this year. But the second thing that we're excited to show the rest of the world that we have always known is that Boston and Massachusetts' revolutionary spirit has never been confined to just one moment 250 years ago. From the founding of this community 4 centuries ago, all the way through to the present day, Boston and Massachusetts have been about revolution and innovation. I want to thank those who hold the history of our legacy, Nat and Revolutionary Spaces, and all of the historians and preservationists in the room who keep us updated on how we must hold true to the values of this country that Boston knows best. To all those who continue to lift up and tell the stories that need to be told. To us, celebrating the 250th isn't just about honoring that moment in the past. It's about living up to it and carrying forward our legacy of community, belief, and possibility. Back in April, on Patriots' Day, we also launched our Boston 250 effort, From Revolution to Revolutionary. Walking down the street with Paul Revere in the North End, watching the rowing across the harbor and the sending off of the reenactment, it reminds us that the spirit that moved Paul Revere, Crispus Attucks, Henry Knox, didn't end in 1776. It kept growing, and it grows to this day, in the first public park in the country, at the first public library, on the first subway trains. It kept growing in the courage of Malcolm X and the dream of Dr. King, both shaped right here in Boston. And in the medical breakthroughs born in our hospitals, the bold ideas tested in our labs, and our shared dedication to building a better future for our children. You heard Chad's description of how even for one event and one community focused on arts for all, Boston has always continued to push the limit, to expand access, to bring more people in, to ensure more eyes and hearts and minds could be connected in. And I'm so grateful that even just this year, we have continued to partner with the BSO on revolutionary ways to ensure every child growing up in this city has access to wonder and joy and curiosity, with free performances at the BSO, at the ballet, at so many of our performing arts organizations, alongside free museum access for all. So this next July 4th, thanks to MA250, we will see that spirit shine for the world. We are and always will be a home for revolutionaries. And on that note, I want to thank our partners in the community for bringing the 250th to life with such care and pride. The BSO, Revolutionary Spaces, Embrace Boston, Old North Illuminated, and many more. And I also want to thank our sponsors. For Boston 250, the Boston Foundation, John Hancock, Blue Cross Blue Shield, State Street, and also Liberty Mutual, who's co-investing in both Boston 250 and MA250. Thank you for your incredible support and dedication to our community. As we turn our attention to 2026, we know there's a lot on the docket. And so we'll continue to work closely with our state partners, with our public safety partners, with all of our cultural, historic, and community partners to ensure that this 4th of July is the biggest and the best that the city has ever seen. From Evacuation Day to July 4th, at the World Cup and on the tall ships, We'll be sharing Boston's revolutionary spirit with the world. And our intention is to tell every story. If you walk up the block, you will see King's Chapel, the first Anglican church in all of New England. In September, they unveiled Unbound, a memorial sculpture honoring the 219 children, women, and men who were enslaved by past ministers and members of the church. We are also continuing to tell the stories throughout our neighborhoods of all the revolutionaries, of all the many, many people whose stories haven't been captured in memorials and monuments through our Unmonumented Public Arts Project, through our continued partnerships with the Boston Public Schools and organizations throughout the city, and through our neighborhood markers that we will see throughout the city to mark 250 years of innovation and revolution. Boston is special because we understand our responsibility in this moment extends far beyond this generation. If there ever was a time when the world is looking for leadership, when the world needs examples of how people still come together to get things done, to hold up that revolutionary spirit, and to commit to build the brightest future for our kids' kids, and every generation afterwards, we need MA250 and Boston 250 right now, and I'm so thankful to all of you for making it possible.
Thank you, Mayor Wu. It is now my pleasure to introduce the chair of the MA250 Executive Committee, Bob Rivers.
Well, thank you, Kate, and thanks so much to your team over at Mass Office Travel and Tourism for their incredible work. So many of the things that the governor referenced earlier have really been driven by your team, and it's really appreciated, and it's helped to bring us to this point. I want to thank, of course, the governor, the lieutenant governor, our mayor for being here, as well as the entire members of the legislature and those who serve on the MA250 Special Commission for your leadership in bringing us here today. And good morning, everyone. Once again, many thanks to all of you for being here for this very important moment, this very first important moment of what we expect will be many as we announce more about what is planned for 2026. One of the things that I wanted to say about Eastern, because you might ask, well, you know, why are we so committed to this effort? You may know Eastern was founded as the Salem Savings Bank in Salem, Massachusetts in 1818. And we've been committed to serving our customers, colleagues, and communities, in essence, doing good things to help people prosper. It's a story that began the very first day we opened, when we were one of the first banks in the nation to offer banking services to women, a full century before women won the right to vote in the United States, in which Massachusetts was a center for this national movement from its earliest days. Our commitment to being a bank for everyone has enabled us to grow, adapt, and thrive, and that's true for Massachusetts as well. Since our nation's founding, Massachusetts has been a hub of innovation that continues today in how we lead across many sectors and industries, from our small businesses to our family-owned businesses to our multinationals, with all helping to ensure that our economy thrives. We're excited to collaborate with all of you and showcase Massachusetts as a center of new ideas, creativity, and progress as we celebrate America's 250th birthday. And as we plan the MA250 celebrations, we are committed that all of the stories of our state's rich culture, diverse communities, ideas, and innovation will be told. And in that light, I want to offer a thanks to those that are helping lead our committee on that front: Brian Boyles at Mass Humanities, Nicole Obie at the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts. Thanks for your ideas, your commitment, your leadership. It's greatly appreciated. And I'm really so privileged to have the opportunity to speak with all of you and to be a part of this effort, working alongside business, nonprofit, community leaders across the state, luminaries like Linda Henry from the Globe, and Brian Raffinelli, as was mentioned earlier. But also wanted to make the point that this Mass 250 is a partnership. It's a partnership with all of us. We all contribute to this effort. So Mass 250 embraces, and is, as the mayor mentioned, is a partner with Boston 250 and is led by other efforts that others have done for a long time to help us prepare for this moment. People like Dusty Rhodes from Conventures, your leadership on Knox Trail that'll culminate in the Evacuation Day here in Boston, again, makes a tremendous difference. So thank you so much to everyone. And certainly the state has backstopped our efforts and led off with their own commitment in a celebration to $6 million in grants to organizations across the state in terms of the bigger and better celebration this year and in the 4th of July that the governor mentioned earlier. But this work must be done in partnership with the state's business community to help drive excitement and engagement among both residents and tourists as we mark this important milestone. To do this, the MA250 Executive Committee aims to raise at least an additional $8 million to support this year's events. And we are well on our way. Thanks in large part to our Corporate Engagement Committee, who's led by co-chairs Beth Boland and Pam Everhart. Thank you so much. Tremendous amount of energy has gone into from that group to make this day possible. And as a result of it, it's my pleasure to announce today that we have 12 large businesses that have already committed to sponsor the MA250 celebration and associated events at the $250,000 level and above. These are first led by Takeda. Takeda, who has announced a commitment of $1 million to Mass 250. Followed by Vertex at $500,000. And Biogen, who led the way for the BSO concert this past year, is playing yet a significant role again this year, as they have done for many years. Thank you so much, Biogen. So, in addition to celebrating next year what will be the 50th anniversary of the bioscience industry in Massachusetts, it's truly fitting, and I think greatly appreciated, of course, that these three companies that represent the revolution in bioscience nationally and throughout the world are also blazing the trail for our business community in support of MA250 in 2026. Thank you so much, folks. And of course, there are others. Amazon, Bank of America, Eastern, Fidelity Investments, Liberty Mutual, M&T Bank, Meet Boston, New Balance, Optum, Sanofi, and Tom and Winnie Faust all have committed at least $250,000 to this important initiative. Thank you all. We are extremely grateful to these businesses and their leadership for committing to celebrate our proud history and showcase what we all know, that Massachusetts is a truly special place to live, work, and raise our families. We welcome other business and community leaders around the state to join us in supporting this unique way to celebrate our local community and our nation's history. And with that, I'll turn it over to today's host, Nat Scheidley from Revolutionary Spaces. Nat?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Old South Meeting House. I'm Nat Scheidley, the president and CEO of Revolutionary Spaces, as you heard, and it is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you to our amazing home. Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Governor Healey, Mayor Wu, Secretary Paley, Mr. Rivers, Mr. Smith, esteemed guests, it is my real pleasure to be hosting you for this event. I want to thank you for your leadership. Massachusetts must lead the way in honoring 250 years of American independence, and thanks to you, we will. We are gathered in this amazing room where in December of 1773, thousands, eyewitnesses said 5,000, so look around and try to imagine that, thousands assembled to demand that their voices be heard and their liberties be protected from British oppression. Their actions launched the Boston Tea Party and set the course for American independence. And the most pivotal steps on that course were taken just 2 blocks up the street from here at the old State House, where John Adams said the child independence was born, and where Bostonians first heard the Declaration of Independence read aloud in July of 1776. Revolutionary Spaces is honored to have the duty of care for these 2 incomparable national landmarks. Together, they frame the story of America's revolution as no other sites can, from the very first sparks of resistance at the Boston Massacre and before, to the proclamation that all men are created equal. And just as important, they stand as powerful reminders that liberty is not a given, that the work of democracy is never finished, and that history is made by ordinary people daring to build a better future. Now, Revolutionary Spaces is proud to have played a role, sometimes a leading role, in commemorating previous commemorations on this road to next year, including the 250th anniversary of the Boston Massacre in 2020 and of the Boston Tea Party in 2023. We are so delighted to hear the ambitious plans that all of you have for next July. And I'm so grateful, Governor Healey, to your administration for supporting this effort and for your vision and your leadership, and Mayor Wu, to all that you have done to put Boston in a position to lead in this moment. I am here, I think, to remind you that as you focus on this amazing headline event that will capture the attention of the public, there are many others who are working with your support to add to those commemorations. So as we look ahead to 2026, I am excited to announce on behalf of Revolutionary Spaces that we plan to launch a new initiative that will, I hope, forever change how visitors experience history here in Boston and in Massachusetts. Launching next July, this groundbreaking multi-sensory experience in this room will use immersive storytelling, layered sound, animation, and innovative technology in ways never before seen on the Freedom Trail, inviting audiences not just to understand, but to feel in their hearts Boston's role as the birthplace of American democracy like they never have before. Our goal is simple, but ambitious, to make history immediate, to make it participatory, and most importantly, to make it deeply relevant to the challenges of our own time. So we thank the Massachusetts 250th Commission, the Office of Travel and Tourism, Kate Fox and your amazing team for their early support of this work through the Destination Development and the Massachusetts 250 grant programs. That funding will help us to bring this history to life for new audiences in bold and engaging ways. At Revolutionary Spaces, we bring people together to explore our nation's still unfinished struggle to create and sustain a free society. And as we look toward 2026, we are confident that this new experience in this space will extend that mission, inviting visitors to step into history in a way that sparks curiosity, dialogue, and a deeper sense of connection to the ideals born in this very space. So thank you, and we invite you to come back here on December 16th for a special preview of this transformative project. History isn't behind us. We are standing right inside it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nat, and thank you to your entire team at Revolutionary Spaces for hosting us in this historic setting. Your work brings the history to life for communities across the state, and we are very grateful for your partnership. Now, to speak about how this celebration connects to our state's broader economic and cultural growth, please join me in welcoming Secretary of Economic Development, Eric Paley.
Good morning, everyone. I didn't realize there were going to be so many fun parts of this job. Thank you so much for hiring me. Just thank you to the governor, lieutenant governor, the mayor, our legislators, members of the legislature who are here, Bob Rivers, for your leadership on MA250, Chad Smith and Keith Lockhart, Kate Fox and the Mott team. Thank you so much. Probably, like for many of you, this is personal for me. Like Reggie, I raised my family in Lexington over the last 14 years, and we are nerds about the revolution in Lexington. People wear tricorn hats all over town. We have National Park as the battle green. We have a park ranger there on pretty much every nice weather day in case you have any questions. And almost every year for the past 14 years, my kids have begged me to take them once again to see the reenactment. So you get up at 4:30 a.m., and they don't get up at 4:30 a.m. You have to drag them out of bed after they convinced you to go in the first place the night before. And you arrive there at the crack of dawn. It is chilly outside because it's in April. And so you're shivering. It's the crack of dawn, and the shot rings out. And the shot is an incredible representative of an idea that changed the world, innovation. But the shot itself is not innovation. And every year, if you go to the reenactment, if those of you haven't been, I really invite you to go. One of the things you see that is almost unexpected year after year after year is that it is not a glorious outcome. In fact, it's a massacre. The colonialists were outnumbered 10-1, and their casualties were 10-1. And the British marched right through them and right past them as they retreat. It's not a happy moment or a happy outcome. But like all innovation, it's not just an idea. It's about resilience. It's about fighting through to get to the outcome. And very little innovation happens without extreme resilience. We did get to see that resilience very quickly, in that at Concord, the British met their match, and they were turned around. Not only were they turned around, but on the path back, marching back to Boston, Captain Parker, who led the Lexington regiment, got his revenge, what they call Parker's Revenge, which is also reenacted every year in Lexington, where surrounding neighborhoods brought their militiamen, and Parker was able to fire upon the British. And the British ended up taking way more casualties that day than the colonialists did. But with this, I would put out to you that the reason we thrive here in Massachusetts, this innovative spirit that is in our DNA, is way beyond ideas. It really is ideas plus extraordinary resilience. The willingness to hit obstacles, hit hurdles, and keep on going. That history is deeply ingrained in who we are. MA250 is a catalyst for telling that story. It's a catalyst for explaining that innovation goes well beyond ideas, that it takes that resilience. It's a catalyst for bringing people into our state and telling them who we are and what we're about. Our tourism industry is a big industry for Massachusetts. It's over $24 billion in revenue every year to the state. It employs about 150,000 people in the state. It brings 52 million visitors a year to Massachusetts. And it is one of the parts of our economy that is actually bigger today than it was before COVID. So it's continued to expand. MA250 is going to take that to a whole nother level this year. So very much look forward to seeing the impact this has overall in our economy. In 2026, the world sees Massachusetts both as a birthplace of independence and as the heart of innovation that it is today. The bold spirit of 70-75 is propelling us forward. It is helping us tell our story. It is ingrained in who we are, and it's making us the most innovative economy in the world. And I can't wait to celebrate that with you all on July 4th. Thank you so much. Turn it back over to Kate Fox from Mott.
Thank you so much, Secretary Paley. And thank you to all of our speakers this morning, Governor Healey, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Bob Rivers, Chad Smith, Nat Scheidele, Mayor Wu. Thank you for coming together for this celebration. It is now my job to conclude. I hope you all get a hat. And I'm going to, Maestro Lockhart, did you want to say a few words before we end with another performance by the BSO? Oh, he's taken the mic. This is the end of my time emceeing. Thank you so much for being here this morning, Maestro Lockhart.
Good morning, everyone, and I have to tell you, I have had the honor and privilege of leading America's Orchestra in what we feel is America's signature birthday party for 31 of the 53 years that it has existed. And I could not imagine anything that could have renewed my spirit, reinvigorated my commitment to this event than more than what we've heard over this last hour. We at the Boston Pops are so thrilled, so honored to be part of this great city, this great state, and this great opportunity to show the world what Massachusetts is really about. And I can't talk to you about the program yet. That will happen, as Chad Smith said, over the next couple of months. But I can almost guarantee that the next speech you're about to hear will be on that program, written by the March King John Philip Sousa in 1896, so celebrating its 130th anniversary. Shortly after its composition, it was transcribed for orchestra, and we believe, and nobody has told us we were wrong yet, that the Boston Pops was the first orchestra to play that piece, and we've never stopped playing it. It is our signature piece, and it is the National March of the United States. We thought we'd close today's program with The Stars and Stripes Forever.